It's a debate almost as old as education itself. Should you send your child to a single-sex or a co-ed school? Some argue there are academic advantages to separation. Others say the real world isn't single-sex, so school shouldn't be either. So what actually works best for students in 2026? And is this about evidence, tradition, or just personal preference? James Bentley is headmaster of St Peter's College, boys' school. Stephen Hargraves is principal of Maclean's College, girls and boys, and they both joined me at the desk this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Ryan.
Good to have you both here. I thought I'd let you have your own little rant, if you like, first about what you think is better and why. James, I'll start with you.
Well, I think, Ryan, to start off with, it's up to parents, really. It's choice. And both systems, co-ed or single-sex schools, private schools, integrated schools, it comes down to parents' choice and what works best for their child. And I think we need to be really careful that we think one's better than the other, because I don't believe that's the case. As I said, I think it purely comes down to what's best for the individual child.
James, you can't come in here and sit on the fence. Come on, Stephen.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan, you're probably not going to get much of a debate out of me either.
God.
We probably attribute too much to whether it's a boys' school or a girls' school. You know, there's socio-economic factors that determine student success. And actually, for me, the most important thing is the culture of the school. You know, what's the classroom environment like? Is it focused and productive? Is there a good extracurricular program and the kids are encouraged to get into it? Is uniform worn with pride? You know, all of these things that mean that the education is going to be a good one. There are plenty of good boys' schools and girls' schools, good co-ed schools, and there's plenty of average ones as well. And I would think a parent should be deciding, you know, what's the school culture like in the environment? Is it set up for success before they decide, yes, it must be a boys' school or it must be a girls' school?
James, what type of school did you go to when you were a kid?
I went to a boys' school, and I you know, grew up going through primary as co-ed, and then went on to a boys' school, and I really enjoyed my time there. But I've also worked in co-ed schools, and there's huge advantages in both systems. I think with boys, we're very intentional. Okay, so we only teach boys, and so we can specialise in what they need and what they require. And I think, you know, the evidence suggests or shows that boys do develop behind teenage girls, and so because of that, we can pace the learning better. We also can offer an environment where there's less social pressure for them to perform, and you know, they can find their own place as individuals. Or we also, as a boys' school, boys aren't very good at existing in the grey area. So yeah, we can be pretty black and white around our boundaries, and that happens in co-ed schools as well, but certainly in our schools, you know, we can be pretty firm on where our boundaries are, and boys tend to respond to that well in our schools.
Stephen, do you find that is a problem, that the ages of development are different and you might have girls focusing and doing the work and boys kind of distracting everyone?
Yeah, at prize giving every year, it's interesting. Junior prize giving, a lot of girls are topping the class and winning the awards, and by the time you get to senior school, you know, the boys are often coming through, and you know, the Ducks is often a boy, probably more often than not. Yeah, James's comment about, you know, being intentional. I think if we are going to have a debate, co-ed schools, I think we probably have a better engineering program and construction program. You know, these sort of technical subjects that girls can opt into, and I imagine there aren't too many girls' schools that have good welding bays and automotive workshops. And likewise, we have a good dance and drama program and food technology, probably better than most boys' schools that our boys can opt into. So there's probably some options there that are a bit different. Yeah, maybe that's something that parents would consider.
So so it doesn't matter really. It's not the biggest determining factor on how successful your kid would be. No. What is it then? What is it, you know, how rich you are? Is it how invested your parents are? What is the thing that makes the biggest difference about whether a kid will succeed at school or not?
I think firstly, quality of teaching in that school. I think, you know, if we've got a really good group of teachers, and there are in our schools, right across our schools, right across the country, we have excellent teachers. And I think it's about also finding a place where that boy or girl feels that they can thrive. And I think, you know, lots of girls may not thrive in a girls' school, they prefer a co-ed, and vice versa with boys. And so I think the biggest factor is that, but also, of course, family support for education. You know, a lot is put back on schools these days. For example, attendance. We've got concerns about boys and girls going to school enough in this country, and that's fair. It's fair, but that's the one factor that really schools can only have a small influence on. It's really parents that have to get their kids out of bed in the morning and get them to school, and so if you break that out further, we need our families to be more supportive around education, and I think if a child has that, then they're going to thrive in, to be honest, any school they can go to.
And so there are people who'll say, well, parents are just getting worse, and they don't care as much as they used to. But then also, both parents are now working. Like, life is harder and more stressful for people. So what do we do about this? Because it's clearly become a problem, this kind of break. And this has nothing to do with co-ed, of course. But yeah, what do we do as a society about that problem?
Your parents obviously still do care a lot, and you're right, they are working. I'm not sure if somehow the expectation has been placed on schools more now. There are all sorts of social services delivered through schools, and I don't think that's right. I think it's a conversation that needs to be, hang on a minute, parents need to be getting their kids ready for school and making sure they go there. It's pretty hard for us to do, work magic if the kids aren't coming prepared. I mean, we just heard the reports recently about the primary schoolers arriving and they can't, go to the toilet and hold a pen, and, they don't recognise letters and things. That's not on schools, that's on homes. Yeah.
So if there was one thing you could change, you've both been principals for a decent amount of time now, you know the game. If there was one thing you could change about the system or the way that we do it, what would it be?
Have an oversupply of excellent teachers out there that we can grab.
Great,
we'll magic that up tomorrow. What about you?
That was actually the first thing that popped into mind for me as well. The most important thing in a school is high quality teaching, and I'm not sure that we do have the pipeline of high quality teachers that we would like. Having just gone through a recruitment process, we've got 35 new teachers starting this year. We're a big school, obviously, and we're pretty happy with the crop that we've got, but in some cases we had one candidate, thank goodness they were good enough, there was nobody else suitable, and that's just not right.
A lot of this is to do with pay. This is what the unions tell us, and we're not keeping up with Australia, but we need a bigger and better economy in order to be able to afford those types of things. What do you think teachers should be paid?
Well, I think I do, of course, think they need to be paid more, but I also think as a society we need to value our teachers more. And I think in this country for too long we haven't, and I think that there's an effect on that. Young graduates want to come into teaching, but they sort of think, well, am I going to be valued like, my friend who's going to become an accountant or a lawyer? And it shouldn't be like that. Being a teacher is one of the greatest privileges you can have in a career, and we want more of our quality people coming in to the system.
Appreciate you both coming on the show this morning. Thanks so much for being with me, even if you both sat on the fence the entire time. I appreciate you coming in all the same. That's Stephen Hargraves, Principal of Maclean's College, and James Bentley, Headmaster at St. Peter's.